Highway 94. Rain. A woman collapsed on the roadside, lips turning blue. Terrence didn't hesitate. He called 911, started CPR. 30 compressions. Her rib cracked under his hands. 2 breaths. Again. Her designer blouse tore. He kept going. The ambulance arrived. Paramedic Lopez. "You saved her." The woman's eyes opened briefly. She saw him, a black man in a wet jacket, hands still on her chest. Then the doors closed. Terrence drove home to his son, thinking he'd done the right thing. By morning, that right thing would destroy his life. But eventually, in a way no one could predict, it would also save it. Terrence's apartment was a single room where everything lived too close together. The pull-out couch doubled as his bed. A hot plate sat on the counter instead of a stove. On the wall hung a framed photo. Terrence in army fatigues beside a woman with kind eyes. His wife. Gone 2 years to cancer that came fast and cost everything. Morning light crept through thin curtains. Isaiah stirred on the couch, 8 years old with his mother's smile. He coughed. That wet rattling sound Terrence knew too well. "Easy, buddy." Terrence reached for the inhaler on the windowsill. Empty. Isaiah wheezed. "Dad?" "I know." Terrence grabbed the backup from the kitchen drawer. Also empty. He opened his wallet. $17. 3 quarters. A nickel. The pharmacy receipt on the counter read, "Albuterol refill $6,200, $45 short." Terrence texted the school nurse, "Can you give Isaiah his emergency inhaler today? We'll pay you back Friday." Isaiah sat up, rubbing his eyes. "Is it Saturday?" "Not yet, champ. You got school." "Can we get pancakes?" Terrence looked at the $17 again. "How about I make you something here?" He scrambled 2 eggs on the hot plate, last 2 in the carton, divided them onto paper plates. Isaiah ate without complaint, legs swinging under the table. Beside the wedding photo hung Terrence's CPR certification card, renewed every 2 years, habit from the service. "Dad, why do you keep that?" Isaiah pointed. "Because you never know when someone needs you. Soldiers help people. That doesn't stop when you take the uniform off." Isaiah grinned. "Like a superhero." "Something like that." By 7 a.m., Terrence was behind the wheel again, ride-share app glowing. Ping. Pickup. Businessman in a suit. Drop-off. Downtown high-rise. The man climbed in without looking at him, spent 23 minutes on a conference call. Words like quarterly earnings and market share filled the car. Terrence drove in silence. At drop-off, the businessman tapped his phone. "Thanks." The door slammed. Notification. Ride fare 34 to 75. Tip $100. Terrence pulled back into traffic. 3 more rides before noon. A college student who left her backpack. Terrence returned it. No tip. A mother with a crying baby apologized for the whole ride. $3 tip. An elderly man talked about the weather. $2. By 2 p.m., Terrence had made $41. He stopped at a corner store, counted coins from the cup holder, bought Isaiah's favorite candy bar for $1.29. The cashier dropped it in a bag without looking up. Terrence sat in the parked car, staring at the candy. Across the city, in a world he'd never touched, Elise Caldwell woke in a private hospital room with Egyptian cotton sheets. Her father's lawyer stood in the hallway, speaking quietly about incident reports and protecting the family. Elise's penthouse had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the skyline. Her closet held more clothes than Terrence owned in his lifetime. She'd never counted change for medication, never wondered if helping someone might cost more than she could afford. Terrence didn't know any of that yet. At 3 p.m., he pulled up to Isaiah's school. Public building, peeling paint, chain-link fences. Isaiah ran out, backpack bouncing. Dad! Ms. Rodriguez said I can be line leader tomorrow. Terrence smiled. First real one all day. That's my man. You're gonna lead those kids like a general. Isaiah climbed in, buckled himself. Did you save someone last night? What? You came home late and wet. Mom used to say you saved people. Terrence's throat tightened. Yeah, buddy, I helped someone. Did it feel good? It did. Isaiah pulled out a drawing from his backpack. A stick figure with "My Dad the Hero" written in crayon at the top. Terrence's hands tightened on the wheel. He didn't know that in 90 minutes his phone would ring. He didn't know the woman he saved would soon accuse him of assault. He didn't know that doing the right thing, the thing his wife taught him, the thing he'd taught Isaiah, would nearly destroy everything. But eventually it would lead somewhere he never imagined. If he could survive what came next. The knock came at 6:30 p.m. Terrence was stirring pasta on the hot plate. Isaiah sat at the table doing homework, pencil moving slowly across lined paper. 3 heavy knocks. Official. Terrence's stomach dropped. He knew that sound. Military police knocked like that. Bill collectors knocked like that. He opened the door. 2 officers. 1 black, 50s, tired eyes. 1 white, 30s, hand resting near his belt. Behind them, a patrol car with lights off. Terrence Washington? The black officer's voice was flat. Yes, sir. Detective Raymond Brooks. This is Officer Stevens. We need you to come with us. What's this about? Brooks glanced at Isaiah, then back. Sexual assault and battery. You need to come to the station. The words hit like a fist. What? Who? Woman you encountered last night. Elise Caldwell. She's filed charges. Terrence's mind spun. The woman on the highway. I saved her life. I did CPR. I called 911. Stevens spoke for the first time. Why were you on that highway at 2A? That's not a rideshare route. I was driving home from work. I saw her collapse. Brooks pulled out a tablet, scrolled. We checked dispatch records. No 911 call from your number. That's impossible. I called. The dispatcher told me help was coming. Mr. Washington, the victim says you assaulted her. We have physical evidence. Torn clothing. Bruising on her chest. Your name in the paramedic report. The bruising is from CPR. Compressions cause bruising. That's normal. Check with the paramedics. Brooks sighed. Sir, you need to come with us. Now. Behind him, Isaiah's chair scraped. Dad? Terrence turned. His son stood frozen, pencil still in hand, eyes wide. It's okay, buddy. This is a mistake. I'll be home soon. Stevens stepped forward with handcuffs. Is that necessary? Terrence's voice stayed calm. Military calm. The kind that kept you alive when everything went wrong. Procedure, Stevens said. The metal clicked around Terrence's wrists. Cold, tight. Isaiah's pencil fell. It hit the floor and rolled. Daddy? His voice cracked. Did you do something bad? Terrence's chest shattered. No, son. I didn't. I promise. Brooks's face softened slightly. Is there someone who can stay with him? Neighbor across the hall, Mrs. Patterson. They walked him out. Isaiah stood in the doorway, small and confused, as they put Terrence in the back of the patrol car. Through the window, Terrence watched his son watch him leave. The interrogation room was concrete and fluorescent light. Detective Brooks sat across the metal table. Stevens stood by the door. Brooks opened a folder. Photos. Elise Caldwell in a hospital gown. Purple bruises across her sternum and ribs. Torn designer blouse in an evidence bag. She says you attacked her. I performed CPR. She was dying. Where's the 911 call? I told you. I made it. Brooks leaned back. Look, I want to believe you. But we've got a victim who says you assaulted her. Physical evidence. Physical. And no record of this call you claim you made. Check my phone records, cell tower data. I was there, I called. We will. But right now, it's your word against hers. Stevens spoke from the door. And she's Caldwell. Silence. Brooks shot Stevens a look, then turned back to Terrence. Her family's attorney arrived 18 minutes after we contacted her. For a standard assault case, that's unusual. What does that mean? It means this is complicated. Brooks closed the folder. Bail hearings tomorrow morning. You'll spend tonight in holding. I have a son. He needs his medication. He has asthma. We'll make sure social services checks on him. Social services? Terrence's voice rose for the first time. He doesn't need social services. He needs his father. Then you should have thought about that before. Stevens trailed off. Terrence stared at him. Before what? Before saving someone's life? Brooks stood. Officer Stevens, wait outside. Stevens left. Brooks sat back down, voice lower. Between us? Something feels off about this. But my hands are tied. The prosecutor's already involved. The Caldwell name carries weight. So I'm guilty because she's rich and I'm not? Brooks didn't answer. In the holding cell, Terrence sat on a concrete bench and thought about Isaiah's drawing. My dad, the hero. He wondered if his son still believed that. The bail hearing happened fast. Public defender assigned. Malik Johnson, mid-30s, carrying a briefcase that had seen better years. He had 180 open cases. Mr. Washington, I'll be honest. You saved her life and she's accusing you of sexual assault. You're a black man, she's a white woman with a billionaire father. This is the nightmare scenario. I have a son. I understand. But fighting this could mean years waiting for trial. Plea deal gets you probation. I'm not pleading guilty to something I didn't do. Malik rubbed his eyes. Then we fight. But I need you to understand what you're up against. The judge set bail at $10,000. Terrence had $287 in his account. The Caldwell estate sat behind iron gates and old oak trees, Georgian architecture, manicured lawns, a driveway that curved like a ribbon through grounds larger than the neighborhood where Terrence grew up. Inside, Harrison Caldwell stood in his study, phone pressed to his ear. Yes, I understand. Thank you, Detective. He ended the call. 62 years old, silver hair, custom suit that cost more than Terrence made in 3 months. But his eyes held something his money couldn't buy. Doubt. Victoria appeared in the doorway. His wife. Designer dress. Pearls. Well? They arrested him. Good. She crossed her arms. That animal deserves worse. Victoria. Don't Victoria me. He attacked our daughter. Harrison walked to the window, looked out at the grounds. She said he attacked her. You don't believe her? I didn't say that. Then what are you saying? Harrison turned. I'm saying I want to make sure we have all the facts. Victoria's face hardened. The fact is, our daughter was traumatized. The fact is that man was on top of her, tearing her clothes. The fact is she woke up terrified. What other facts do you need? I need to talk to her. Upstairs, Elise sat on her bed, knees pulled to her chest. 26 years old. Blonde hair is still damp from the shower. She'd scrubbed her skin raw trying to wash away the fear. Harrison knocked softly. Elise? Come in. He sat on the edge of her bed, the same bed she'd had since childhood. Canopy overhead, stuffed animals still on the shelf, relics of a simpler time. Tell me what happened. Everything you remember. Elise's hands shook. I was walking back from Sarah's house. Started feeling dizzy, really dizzy. I couldn't breathe. Next thing I remember, someone was on top of me. pushing down on my chest. It hurt. My clothes were ripped. I was so scared, Dad. Do you remember calling for help? I couldn't. I couldn't breathe. What about before you lost consciousness? Elise closed her eyes. It's blurry. I remember feeling sick. Then nothing. Then waking up with him there. Did he say anything to you? I don't know. I don't remember. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Why are you asking me this? Don't you believe me? Harrison pulled her into a hug. Of course I believe you. I'm your father. I just want to make sure we handle this right. But even as he said it, something nagged at him. Later, alone in his study, Harrison opened his laptop. He typed, Terrence Washington, U.S. Army. The search results are loaded. Service record, Honorable Discharge 2017, Combat Medic. Army Commendation Medal for Actions Under Fire. The citation read, Specialist Washington displayed exceptional courage and medical skill, saving 3 wounded soldiers while under enemy fire in Kandahar province. Harrison leaned back in his chair. A combat medic. He pulled up the police report on his tablet, scrolled to the paramedic's notes. Bystander performed professional-level CPR. The victim would not have survived without immediate intervention. Professional level. He opened another window, searched. CPR bruising, medical articles loaded. Images of chest bruising from compressions, broken ribs, torn clothing from accessing the chest. All normal, all necessary. Harrison sat in silence, the only sound the antique clock ticking on the mantel. On his desk, a framed quote he'd had since he started his company 30 years ago. Integrity is inconvenient. That's how you know it's real. Words he'd built an empire on. Words he'd taught his children. He picked up his phone, scrolled through contacts, found a name. Samuel Hayes, private investigator, former FBI. Harrison hesitated. If he was wrong, he'd be betraying his daughter. If he was right, he'd be complicit in destroying an innocent man. He pressed dial. Hayes, it's Harrison Caldwell. I need you to look into something, quietly. And I need the truth, not what makes me comfortable. Across the city, Terrence sat in a holding cell, wondering if his son was asleep yet, wondering if Isaiah still thought his dad was a hero. The courthouse smelled like floor polish and fear. Terrence sat beside Malik in the defendant's row, wearing the same clothes he'd been arrested in. Wrinkled shirt, jeans with a coffee stain. He hadn't slept. The holding cell mattress was thin as cardboard, and every time he closed his eyes, he saw Isaiah's face. The judge entered. White woman, 50s, reading glasses perched on her nose. Case number 47-2B, State versus Terrence Washington. The prosecutor stood. Young, ambitious, expensive suit. Expensive. Your Honor, the defendant is charged with sexual assault and battery. The victim is a prominent member of our community who was brutally attacked. Given the severity of the charges and the defendant's lack of significant assets, we request bail be set at $50,000. $50,000. Malik shot to his feet. Your Honor, that's excessive. My client is a decorated Army veteran with no criminal record. He has an 8-year-old son who depends on him. He has strong community ties. He's not a flight risk. The judge looked at Terrence over her glasses. Mr. Washington, do you have anything to say? Terrence stood. Your Honor, I didn't hurt that woman. I saved her life. I performed CPR. That's why her clothes were torn. That's why she had bruises. I called 911. I did everything right. The court appreciates your statement. However, there are serious charges here. Bail is set at $10,000. $10,000. Terrence sat down slowly. Malik leaned over. Do you have it? I have $287. Outside the courthouse, news cameras waited. A reporter, Latina, 30s, shoved a microphone forward. Mr. Washington, did you assault Elise Caldwell? Terrence kept walking. Is it true you're a veteran? Are you denying the charges? Malik pushed through. No comment. My client maintains his innocence. They made it to Malik's car. 10 years old, dented bumper. Malik pulled into traffic. I'm sorry, man. I tried. I know. Do you have anyone who can help with bail? Terrence thought about his phone contacts. His wife's family had cut him off after she died, blamed him for medical bills they thought he should have paid faster. His army buddies were scattered across the country, most struggling themselves. His neighbors were good people, but $10,000 might as well be $10 million. No. They drove in silence. Malik dropped him at a church. Southside Baptist. Reverend Daniels runs a community aid network. She might be able to help. No promises. Reverend Keisha Daniels met him in the church basement. 50-something. Black woman with silver streaks in her hair and eyes that had seen every kind of struggle. The basement was organized chaos. Folding tables covered with laptops, volunteers on phones. A whiteboard listed families who needed rent help, medical assistance, food. Terrence Washington. She shook his hand firmly. I saw the news. Sit. They sat at a folding table that wobbled. Tell me what happened. Terrence told her everything. The highway, the CPR, the arrest. Isaiah watching him get handcuffed. Keisha listened without interrupting. When he finished, she was quiet for a long moment. You believe me? Terrence asked. I believe the truth is probably more complicated than what the news is saying, and I believe you have a son who needs his father. She stood. Give me 24 hours. Keisha posted on social media that night, Terrence's photo, his story, a link to a crowdfunding page. The caption read, Terrence Washington is a decorated Army veteran and single father who stopped to save a dying woman. Now he's in jail for it. Our community doesn't leave our people behind. Within an hour, the first donations appeared. $50 from a woman who wrote, My brother served with you in Kandahar. You saved his life. $20 from a teacher. I taught Isaiah. That boy loves his father. This is wrong. $100 from a veteran in Texas. Combat medics don't hurt people. We save them. $5 from a teenager. It's all I have, but it's something. The internet caught fire. Hashtag Justice for Terrence spread. Some supported him. Combat veteran. Single dad. Good Samaritan punished for helping. Others didn't. Why are we defending someone accused of assault? Rich white women don't lie about this. He probably did it, and now he's hiding behind his military service. The comment section became a war zone. Race, class, gender. Everyone had an opinion. Nobody had been there. By morning, the crowdfunding page hit $8,000. By noon, $10,000. Reverend Daniels called Terrence. We got it. Come to church. When Terrence arrived, the basement was full. 20 people. Volunteers who'd stayed up all night managing donations. They clapped when he walked in. A man in a wheelchair rolled forward. Vietnam vet jacket. We take care of our own, brother. Terrence's throat closed. I don't know how to thank you. Keisha handed him a check. Thank us by coming home to your son, and by remembering that when this is over, there are people who believed you when it mattered. The bail bondsman processed the payment. By 3 p.m., Terrence was released, but not free. An officer attached an ankle monitor. Black plastic, blinking red light, GPS tracker. He had to stay within a 5-mile radius, couldn't leave the county, had to check in twice a week. If you tamper with this or violate the perimeter, you go straight back to jail. Understand? Yes, sir. Terrence took a bus home. Riders stared at the ankle monitor. Some looked away quickly. Others glared. He climbed the stairs to his apartment. Each step felt heavier than it should. Mrs. Patterson opened her door across the hall. 70 years old, gray hair in curlers. "Isaiah's inside. I fed him dinner." "Thank you." "That boy cried himself to sleep last night." Terrence's chest tightened. "I'm sorry." "Don't apologize to me. Apologize to him." Terrence opened his door. Isaiah sat on the couch, homework spread around him, but he wasn't working. He was staring at the wall. "Isaiah." His son turned, eyes red. "Daddy?" Isaiah ran, crashed into Terrence's legs, held on like he'd never let go. Terrence knelt down, wrapped his arms around his boy. "I'm here, buddy. I'm here? They said you might not come back." "Who said that? Kids at school? They said you did bad things." Terrence pulled back, looked Isaiah in the eyes. "I didn't do anything bad. I helped someone. Sometimes people don't understand that. But you know the truth, right?" Isaiah nodded, but doubt flickered in his eyes. That doubt hurt worse than the handcuffs. That night, after Isaiah fell asleep, Terrence sat alone on the couch. The ankle monitor blinked red in the darkness. He thought about the woman he saved. He wondered if she knew what she'd done. He wondered if she cared. Across the city, in an office that overlooked the skyline, Samuel Hayes reviewed his preliminary findings. Cell tower data, GPS logs, dispatch records with a suspicious gap. He picked up his phone. "Mr. Caldwell, we need to talk." Terrence opened the rideshare app the next morning. Account suspended pending resolution of criminal charges. No income. Rent due in 5 days. $850. Isaiah's medication, $62. He had $41 left. Reverend Daniels found him warehouse work, loading boxes. $80 a day, cash, under the table. He started tomorrow. That afternoon, Isaiah climbed into the car after school. Quiet. No exciting stories. No drawings. "How was school?" Isaiah shrugged. "Buddy, talk to me." "Tommy asked if you hurt a lady." Terrence's hands tightened on the wheel. "What did you say?" "I said you're a hero, that you saved people." "What did Tommy say?" Isaiah looked out the window. "His mom said you're dangerous." Terrence pulled over, turned to his son. "Look at me." Isaiah's eyes were wet. "I helped someone who was sick. I did CPR. Sometimes grown-ups get confused. But the truth will come out." "When?" "I don't know. But you and me, we stick together. Okay?" "Okay." But Isaiah's voice was smaller than before. Across the city, Harrison stood in a ballroom that cost more per hour than Terrence made in a month. Crystal chandeliers, string quartet, gowns and tuxedos, champagne towers. A colleague approached. "Harrison, glad Elise is recovering. Terrible what happened." "Thank you. Hope they lock him up forever." Harrison smiled tightly, said nothing. Victoria found him near the exit. "You look guilty. Why?" "I want to make sure we have all the facts." Her face hardened. "The fact is our daughter was traumatized. Don't make this complicated." She walked away. Harrison's phone buzzed. Text from Hayes. "Found something. Call me." He stepped outside into the cold air. While Harrison stood in $1,000 shoes on marble steps, Terrence sat at a folding table feeding Isaiah canned soup on a hot plate. Two worlds. Same city. About to collide. Samuel Hayes met Harrison at a coffee shop 3 blocks from the estate. Neutral ground. No surveillance. No staff to overhear. Hayes was ex-FBI. 45. Gray at the temples. Eyes that missed nothing. He slid a folder across the table. "You're not going to like this." Harrison opened it. Cell tower data. Terrence's phone pinged Highway 94 at 2:17 a.m. Rideshare GPS showed his last ride ended nearby at 2:03 a.m. Route home passed that exact stretch of road. He was where he said he was, Hayes said. Harrison turned the page. Dispatch log. Calls logged between 2:15 and 2:20 a.m. But between 2:17 and 2:19, nothing. A gap. 911 calls are automatically logged, Hayes continued. They don't just disappear. Someone with admin access deleted it. Who? Still working on that, but I found something else. Hayes pulled out a photocopy. Handwritten notes on paramedic letterhead. Maria Lopez's personal log. Bystander's CPR was a textbook. Military-level precision. Victim would not have survived without immediate intervention. Recommend commendation. Harrison looked up. This isn't in the police report. No, because someone edited it before it went official. The hospital report says, victim transported after bystander assistance. That's it. 14 words instead of Lopez's full account. Can you prove who changed it? Hayes nodded. Hospital IT logs show the report was accessed remotely 2 hours after Lopez filed it. IP address traces back to a law firm. Morrison and Blake. Harrison's blood went cold. That's our family attorney. I know. Silence. Harrison closed the folder. I need to hear the 911 call. That's the problem. It was scrubbed from the main system, but dispatch keeps redundant backups for liability. Most supervisors don't even know they exist. Hayes pulled out a flash drive. I convinced someone to check. Harrison took the drive. That night, he sat alone in his car in the estate driveway, engine off, darkness surrounding him. He plugged the flash drive into his phone. One audio file. 2 minutes, 37 seconds. Harrison pressed play. Static. Then a voice. Male. Calm. Trained. 911, what's your emergency? I have a female, mid-20s, anaphylactic shock. Highway 94, mile marker 12, pulse weak, lips cyanotic. I'm performing CPR. The dispatcher's voice. Help is on the way, sir. Stay with her. What's your name? Terrence Washington. I'm a former Army medic. She's not breathing on her own. Continuing chest compressions. You're doing great, Mr. Washington. The ambulance is 2 minutes out. The sound of rain. Rhythmic compression sounds in the background. Terrence counting under his breath. 28, 29, 30. Then breathing into the phone. Come on, stay with me. Dispatcher. Sir, are you still there? Yeah, I'm here. She's still not responding. How far out? 90 seconds. Keep going. More compressions. Terrence's voice, steady despite the strain. I got you. Stay with me. Help's coming. Sirens in the background, growing louder. The ambulance just arrived. Thank you, sir. You saved her life. The call ended. Harrison sat in the darkness. A single tear rolled down his cheek. He'd built a $2 billion empire on integrity, on truth, on the principle that character mattered more than comfort. And he'd nearly destroyed an innocent man because he was too afraid to ask the right questions. Harrison got out of the car, walked inside, climbed the stairs to Elise's room, knocked. Come in. She was in bed, laptop open, scrolling through something. She closed it quickly when she saw his face. Dad? What's wrong? Harrison sat on the edge of her bed. I need you to tell me what happened that night. Everything you remember. The truth. I already told you. Tell me again. Elise's face shifted, defensive. Why are you doing this? Because I found the 911 call. The one that was deleted from police records. Her eyes widened slightly. Harrison pulled out his phone. Do you want to hear it? No. Elise. I said no, her voice cracked. I don't want to hear it. I know what happened. Do you? Harrison's voice was gentle but firm. Or do you know what people told you happened? Elise's hands shook. She pulled her knees to her chest. I remember feeling sick, really sick, dizzy. I couldn't breathe. Then nothing. Then I woke up and someone was on top of me, pushing down on my chest, and my clothes were torn and I was so scared. What did he say to you? I don't know. I don't remember the words. Just fear. Harrison played the recording. Terrence's voice filled the room. Calm, professional, compassionate. Come on. Stay with me. Elise's face crumbled. That man, Harrison said quietly, saved your life. He called 911. He performed CPR. That's why your clothes were torn. That's why you had bruises. Because compressions break ribs sometimes. Because saving someone isn't gentle. Tears spilled down Elise's cheeks. When you woke up in the hospital, what did people tell you? Her voice was barely a whisper. Mom said a man attacked me. The lawyer said we needed to protect ourselves. He said, a black man did this to you, Elise. You have to be strong. And I was so confused, and everything hurt, and I believed them. Did you remember him attacking you? Or did they tell you that's what happened? Elise sobbed. They told me. They kept saying it until I believed it, until it felt real. Oh God, Dad, what did I do? Harrison pulled her into his arms. Let her cry. You were scared and confused, he said, and people around you, people who should have protected you better, filled in the blanks with their own fears, their own biases. I accused an innocent man. Yes. He has a son. I saw it on the news, an 8-year-old boy. Harrison's jaw tightened. I know. What do I do? Harrison pulled back, looked her in the eyes. You tell the truth. Publicly. No matter how hard it is. Mom will hate me. Everyone will hate me. Maybe. But I taught you that integrity is inconvenient. Remember? That's how you know it's real. Elise wiped her face. What if the truth isn't enough? It has to be. Because if it's not, then everything I've taught you, everything I've built, means nothing. He stood. We have a press conference to plan. And before that, I need to talk to someone. Who? The man whose life we destroyed. Harrison walked out, pulling his phone from his pocket. He called Hayes. Find me Terrence Washington's address. I'm going to see him. Tonight. Across the city, Terrence sat on his couch, ankle monitor blinking red, staring at Isaiah's drawing on the wall. My dad. The hero. His phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Mr. Washington, my name is Harrison Caldwell. I'm Elise's father. I need to talk to you. May I come to your home? Harrison Caldwell had never been inside a building like this. Peeling paint, flickering lights, the smell of old cooking oil. He climbed to the 3rd floor, found apartment 3C. Knocked. Terrence opened the door. Work clothes from the warehouse, dust on his jeans, exhaustion in his eyes. They stared at each other. Mr. Caldwell. Mr. Washington. May I come in? Terrence stepped aside. The apartment was smaller than Harrison's closet. Pull-out couch, hot plate, folding table. On the wall, a wedding photo and a CPR certification card. Isaiah slept on the couch, small body under a thin blanket. Harrison saw the ankle monitor, the blinking red light. Sit. Terrence gestured to the folding chair. Harrison sat. The chair wobbled. Terrence remained standing, arms crossed. Why are you here? To apologize, and to tell you I know the truth. Silence. I found the 911 call, the one that was deleted. I heard your voice. Terrence's jaw tightened. So what now? You apologize and I forget your daughter tried to destroy my life? That my son thinks his father's a criminal? No, I can't give you back those nights, I know that. Then what do you want? Harrison pulled out a folder, laid it on the table. I want to make this public. Withdraw charges completely. Clear your name in front of everyone. Terrence stared at the folder. What do you get? Nothing. Except knowing I taught my daughter something real about accountability. Your daughter lied. My daughter was confused. People around her filled in the blanks with assumptions, with fear, with bias. Harrison paused. But yes, the result was a lie. And that lie nearly destroyed you. Terrence sat, rubbed his face. Do you know what it's like explaining to an 8-year-old why his father was arrested for helping someone? No. Do you know what it's like seeing doubt in your own son's eyes? Harrison stayed quiet. That's what your family did, Terrence said. You can't fix that with a press conference. You're right, but I can try to fix what comes next. Isaiah stirred on the couch, mumbled in his sleep. Both men looked at him. Harrison spoke quietly. I have a son, too, 24 now. When he was Isaiah's age, I told him integrity is inconvenient. That's how you know it's real. If I don't live that now, I taught him empty words. Rich man's philosophy. Maybe, but I'm asking you to let me try. Terrence looked at his son, at the ankle monitor, at the wedding photo. What happens to your daughter when you tell the truth? Public humiliation, hate mail, therapy for years. Good. Harrison didn't flinch. She deserves consequences, but she was also manipulated by people who should have protected her better, including me. She's still responsible. Yes, she is. Terrence walked to the window, looked at the parking lot below. I did CPR because that's what you do. You help people. I didn't think about race or money. I saw someone dying. I know. And she saw a black man on top of her and assumed the worst. Harrison's silence was answer enough. Terrence turned. Before you go public, I want something. Name it. After this is over, when everyone forgets my name, I don't want charity. I don't want a check to make you feel better. If you want to make this right, give me a real opportunity, not pity. Harrison stood. What kind? Something where I use what I know, where I help people, where my son sees his father doing something that matters. My foundation funds emergency response programs. I need someone with combat medical training and leadership experience to run it. $85,000 salary, full benefits, autonomy over the program. You'd build it from the ground up. That's not charity? That's me recognizing you're qualified and I need someone I trust. You don't know me. I know you stopped in the rain to save a stranger. I know you refused to plead guilty when it was easier. I know you're raising a good kid while working for scraps. Harrison's voice was firm. That's leadership. That's integrity. That's what I need. Terrence was quiet. I need to think about it. Of course, but first, let's fix this. Harrison extended his hand. Terrence looked at it. At Isaiah. At the ankle monitor. He shook Harrison's hand. Let's fix it. The press conference was scheduled for 2 p.m. on the Caldwell Estate lawn. News vans lined the street by noon. Satellite trucks, cameras, reporters in makeup checking lighting. CNN sent a crew, local stations, national outlets. The story had everything they loved. Wealth, race, false accusations, redemption. Inside the estate, Elise stood in front of a mirror, hands shaking. Victoria appeared in the doorway. I can't believe you're doing this. Mom, you're going to humiliate yourself. Humiliate this family. I lied, or I let people convince me of a lie. Either way, an innocent man is suffering. Victoria's face was cold. He's not innocent. He's opportunistic. And your father is a fool for believing him. Then I'm a fool too. Victoria turned and left. Elise looked at herself in the mirror. Designer dress, perfect hair, makeup covering the sleepless nights. She looked like someone who had everything. She felt like someone who'd destroyed everything. Outside, Harrison stood at the podium. Microphones clustered like flowers. Cameras pointed like weapons. Terrence stood to his left, wearing the only suit he owned, borrowed from Reverend Daniel's clothing bank. Too big in the shoulders, too short in the sleeves. But pressed, clean, dignified. Elise joined them. She didn't look at Terrence. Couldn't yet. Harrison cleared his throat. The crowd quieted. Thank you for coming. I'm Harrison Caldwell. This is my daughter, Elise, and this is Terrence Washington. We're here to set the record straight about what happened on Highway 94. Cameras clicked like rain on metal. Harrison continued. On the night in question, my daughter experienced a severe anaphylactic reaction. She collapsed on the roadside, unable to breathe. Mr. Washington, a former Army combat medic, stopped his vehicle and immediately began life-saving measures. He paused. Let it sink in. He called 911. He performed CPR. He stayed with her until paramedics arrived. The torn clothing and bruising that were presented as evidence of assault were the result of proper professional chest compressions. Mr. Washington saved my daughter's life. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Due to the trauma of the event and the medical confusion that often accompanies anaphylaxis, my daughter did not initially remember what happened. In her disorientation and fear, and influenced by well-meaning but ultimately harmful advice from people around her, including our family attorney, she came to believe she had been attacked. A reporter shouted. Are you saying your daughter lied? Harrison's voice was firm. I'm saying my daughter was traumatized and confused, and the adults around her failed to investigate thoroughly before filing charges. We acted on assumptions rather than evidence. We let fear and bias fill in the blanks. He pulled out his phone, connected it to the sound system. This is the 911 call Mr. Washington made that night. The call was deleted from official records. Harrison pressed play. Terrence's voice filled the air, calm, professional, compassionate. I have a female, mid-20s, anaphylactic shock, pulse weak, lips cyanotic. I'm performing CPR. The dispatcher. Help is on the way. Stay with her. Terrence counting compressions in the background. 28, 29, 30. His voice again. Come on. Stay with me. The recording ended. Silence. Then chaos. Reporters shouting questions, cameras flashing. Harrison raised his hand. My daughter would like to speak. Elise stepped to the microphone. Her hands gripped a piece of paper, shaking so hard the paper rattled. My name is Elise Caldwell. Her voice was barely audible. And I need to say something. She looked at the paper, then folded it, put it away. I was scared and confused when I woke up in the hospital. I didn't remember what happened. People I trusted told me I'd been attacked. They said a black man did this to me. And because I was afraid, and because I've been raised in a world where certain assumptions go unquestioned, I believed them. Her voice grew stronger. But Mr. Washington didn't attack me. He saved my life. And because of my fear, because of the prejudices I didn't even know I had, we destroyed an innocent man's life. His son watched him get arrested. His community had to raise money to free him. He lost his job. He wore an ankle monitor for doing the right thing. Tears streamed down her face, but she didn't stop. I'm sorry, Mr. Washington. I'm sorry to Isaiah. I'm sorry for every moment of pain I caused. I was wrong. And I have to live with that. She looked at Terrence for the first time. He nodded once. Not forgiveness, acknowledgement. Cameras went wild. Harrison stepped back to the microphone. All charges against Mr. Washington are being withdrawn immediately. We will be issuing a formal apology and working with authorities to understand how evidence was mishandled. Thank you. Reporters swarmed. Mr. Washington, how do you feel? Will you sue the Caldwell family? Elise, do you think you should face charges? Terrence stepped forward. Harrison moved aside. The crowd quieted, surprised. Terrence looked at the cameras, at the reporters, at the world watching. I didn't stop to help Ms. Caldwell because of who she was. I stopped because someone needed help. That's what I was trained to do. That's what I teach my son. His voice was steady, measured. I'm grateful the truth came out, but I also know that if I didn't have a military record, if Mr. Caldwell hadn't investigated, if people didn't fight for me, I'd probably still be wearing this ankle monitor. Or worse. He paused. So this isn't just about me. It's about every person who doesn't get believed because of what they look like. Every father who can't prove his innocence. Every son has to ask if his dad is a bad man. His eyes found the camera. I'll tell my son the same thing I told him before this happened. Do the right thing, even when it's hard, even when people don't believe you, because eventually the truth matters. It has to. The press conference ended. Within an hour, the footage went viral. Hashtag Terrence Washington. Hero trended globally. News outlets pivoted their coverage. Think pieces flooded the internet about racial bias in the justice system, assumptions about black men, the privilege of being believed. The discourse divided predictably. Support for Terrence. This is why black men are afraid to help. Criticism of Elise. She knew exactly what she was doing. Defense of Elise. Trauma is real. She was manipulated. Systemic critique. How many people don't have a billionaire investigating them? Detective Brooks issued a public apology for procedural failures. The prosecutor's office announced an internal review. The family attorney who edited the paramedic report quietly resigned. At the county courthouse, a judge signed the order. All charges dismissed. Ankle monitor removed. Terrence sat in a small office while a technician cut the device from his leg. The red light stopped blinking. For the first time in 2 weeks, Terrence could breathe. Outside, Reverend Daniels waited with Isaiah. When Terrence walked out, his son ran to him. Dad, it's gone! Terrence knelt, pulled Isaiah close. Yeah, buddy, it's gone. Does this mean you're not in trouble? It means the truth won out. Isaiah hugged him tighter. I knew you were a hero. Terrence's eyes burned. You never stopped believing? Never. That night, Harrison called. Mr. Washington, the job offer still stands. If you're interested. Terrence looked at Isaiah doing homework at the table, at the wedding photo on the wall, at the CPR certification card. I'm interested, but I need a few days to think about it. Take all the time you need. Terrence hung up. For the first time in 2 weeks, the future felt like something other than survival. It felt like a possibility. 3 months later. Terrence stood in his new office, windows overlooking a community center parking lot. Clean desk, chairs that didn't wobble. On the wall, a plaque. Emergency Response and Community Health Initiative. Director, Terrence Washington. Beside it, framed, his CPR certification card, his Army medal, Isaiah's drawing. My dad, the hero. A photo on the desk. His wife was smiling. You'd be proud, he whispered. Downstairs, 20 people filled the training room. Veterans, community members, young and old, black, white, Latino. Terrence walked in. They quieted. Good morning. I'm Terrence Washington. We're not here to talk about the news. We're here because you want to learn how to save lives. He gestured to the CPR dummy. You might be scared. Think, what if I do it wrong? But doing something is always better than doing nothing. Always. He knelt beside the dummy. I learned that in the army, and on a highway in the rain. You can save a life. Today I'll show you how. For 2 hours, Terrence taught. Chest compressions, rescue breaths, recognizing anaphylaxis, using Narcan, stopping bleeding. Reverend Daniels sat in front, taking notes. At the back, Isaiah watched his father teach. New inhaler in his backpack, full coverage insurance. A young man raised his hand, black, early 20s. Mr. Washington, weren't you scared to help that lady? Terrence paused. Yes, but being scared doesn't mean you don't help. It means you're human. After class, people lingered, asked questions, thanked him. The room emptied slowly. Harrison appeared in the doorway. You're a natural. Didn't know you were here? I wanted to see how it's going. You've trained over 100 people. 123. 123 people who can save lives. Because of you. Terrence looked out the window. I'm still not sure why you believed me. Because the evidence told the truth. And I wanted to be the man I told my kids to be. Footsteps. Elise entered. She'd been volunteering for 6 weeks, filing paperwork, answering phones, learning CPR, hair shorter, no designer labels, more real. Finished registration for next month. 43 sign-ups. Thank you, Terrence said. I know sorry isn't enough, but I'm trying. Terrence studied her. That's all any of us can do. Keep trying. Isaiah appeared, backpack on. Dad, can we go? Yeah, buddy. They walked through the parking lot. Better neighborhood now. 2-bedroom apartment. Safe street. Working heat. Isaiah looked up. Dad, are you happy? Terrence stopped. Knelt eye level. Yeah, son, I am. We're gonna be okay? Isaiah smiled. Took his father's hand. They walked home as the sun set, casting shadows that finally looked like hope. 18 months later. Text appeared over images. The Emergency Response and Community Health Initiative has trained over 3,200 people in its first year. Montage. Veterans teaching CPR in community centers. Young people learning Narcan administration. Families practicing first aid. Terrence Washington was promoted to Regional Director in 2024, expanding the program to 6 cities. Image. Terrence speaking at a national conference. Isaiah watching from the audience in a suit. Isaiah Washington, age 10, used CPR training from his father to save a neighbor's life in 2024. News clip. Isaiah receiving a community award, Terrence beaming beside him. Elise Caldwell serves on the Foundation's board and advocates for trauma-informed legal reform and implicit bias training in law enforcement. Image. Elise testifying before a state legislature committee. Final narration. Warm. Reflective. Kindness doesn't always get rewarded. Fairness doesn't always win. But when someone with power chooses truth over comfort, when someone without power refuses to be silenced by fear, the world shifts. Not all at once. Not for everyone. But for one father, one son, and everyone who believes that doing the right thing still matters, it's enough. And sometimes, enough is where everything begins. Final image, Terrence and Isaiah, laughing, walking home at sunset. Fade to black. If this story moved you, share it. If you know a veteran who needs support, drop a resource in the comments. These stories matter. They remind us who we can be. See you in the next one.
At Black Voices Uncut, we don't polish away the pain or water down the message. We tell it like it is because the truth deserves nothing less. If today's story spoke to you, click like, join the conversation in the comments, and subscribe so you'll be here for the next Uncut Voice.